Welcome to the Hypernova podcast. I'm Ivan, an analyst at the Hypernova Fund. Today marks the start of our series dedicated to the new space economy. Joining me today is our managing partner, Grigory Trutkin. He'll work us through his personal journey and the vision of the Hypernova Fund. Most importantly, we will discuss the fundamental transformation defining this era, the shift from space as a science to space as a service. Let's get started. Hello, Grigory. Uh,
Hi, Ivan.
Happy to have you here. Today, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about Hypernova and your thesis. I would like to start with some background of yours. So, can you tell me a little bit more? What's your background? Is it finance, IT, venture capital? Why did you decide to focus specifically on space? Was it like a childhood dream or the cold calculation of an investor?
Well, I think space is always is a little bit about of a dream. Um, with me, I was so whole my career was focused on finance, starting like 2009, right after the mortgage crisis. So that's when I started to trade. Started with futures, with more, like uh, classical finance. Then it was evolving naturally, and used to work for a pretty big brokerage company, so now publicly listed. And in 2019, I decided to open my first venture capital firm because we wanted to invest, like in companies who's on the edge of technological development. At those time, we were pretty much industry agnostic, but we were lucky enough to invest in SpaceX in 2020. Um, Back then, the evaluation was like around 28, 30 billion. A little bit later, we started to look at other space companies, such names like Axiom Space, Voyager Technologies. Yeah, and eventually we decided to focus on space tech in 2024. That's when Hypernova Fund was originally opened. And so basically, operationally, ready was in 2025, and that's when we started to raise capital and to deploy it. So speaking about thesis, we focused mostly on space infrastructure. So everything related to hardware sent into an orbit. Yeah. So five main topics we're focusing on is mm, space infrastructure itself, including orbital refueling, on-orbit manufacturing, space inhabitants on low Earth orbit. Also, we're looking for companies who is making some substantial progress in propulsion technologies, because to be honest, we're using the same stuff we were using like 20, 30 years ago. More efficient, but still. Um, what else? Energy generation on orbit, robotics, and partially space weather, because we think that this topic is also truly important, especially considering the amount of objects on the orbit increasing exponentially, and the effect of like um, another sun activity could be just like too harmful for economy. Um, so we need to prepare ourselves for this. Yeah.
Got it.
So hopefully.
So, yeah, it makes sense. Thank you. So, how does your previous experience in finance really help you to evaluate startups? After all, many investors are afraid of space, considering it's too complex, too risky. Do you see the same patterns here that were in the Internet of 90s, SaaS, energy boom, or this is truly a completely different beast?
Well, I would say that there are some similarities for sure. I mean, like companies at early stages, some problems they facing with is similar, right, for any industry. Some is different because when you're trying to make something uh, mission ready, space ready, you cannot do it, like just alone at your home. So you need a team, you need a strong set of expertise, uh, people who, like skillful in this particular field. Um, and also you need to pay to send it to the orbit. Unlike if you're making something in, let's say, application layer AI space, where you can sit alone in your apartment, and like just make an application and try to start distribute it. So in some sense, it's like super different. But at the end of the day, the difference is falls behind, how much expertise do you need and how capital intensive it is.
That's true.
Um, yeah. So in terms of does my previous experience helps me in space tech investment? Of course, it helps. But at the same time, it's slightly different due to nature of the industry itself. It's mostly dual use. It's also have very strong backing from government, and that's what we're looking at when we're picking startups for our fund. Uh, well, you could say that in AI, you also have like strong government backing. Um, but it's more like on infrastructural level, not devoted to each particular part of core technology. So what we could see in space tech.
Got it.
Um, so yeah, I mean, like in some sense, it's like truly different. Some sense it's similar. So, but yeah, it's still VC space.
Got it. So since Jared Isaacman became a new NASA chief, what has changed in your opinion? Because in our report, we claim that the paradigm is not space as science anymore and has shifted to space as a service. What are your thoughts on this and how it will affect investors and industry as a whole?
Well, if I if I would say only one thing which impressed me the most, and which made me really happy, uh, is the following saying that they would not fund one mission with 1 billion anymore. Instead of it, they would rather prefer to fund like 10 startups with 100 million each. And it is not just splitting, like fund flows. It's more about getting more attention from VC community, from like more wide, uh, more big number of investors in general. Because it's not like you put in like 100 less in more, right? So you getting more attention from general public, so you will also get more funding from them. And this 1 billion, which was initially devoted to one company or two companies, uh, now it will be devoted to 10, and plus you will have another 1 billion, maybe 2 million, hopefully 10 billion from general public and investment community. So I think it's like great approach. I hope it will succeed. And honestly, I don't see any other alternatives to this. Um, if you want to truly commercialize space, so that's the only way you should take. Yeah. So I was really happy when I saw this. Um, what else? What else? What else? Yeah, everyone is talking that NASA will be uh, more of a tenant than like an owner. Um, it's also a good thing.
So you
And
think more companies will be, benefiting from those changes that are happening in NASA and, you know, overall we're going to see more startups, we're going to see more funding and more private capital flowing into space companies.
yeah, that's for sure. That's what we already see. I mean, like such companies like Voyager Technologies, they're already public, right? So Firefly Aerospace, so they raised like huge ton of money, basically. York Space Systems going public this week, hopefully. And I mean, like the whole set of companies like planning to do public listings this year or early next year. And aside of it, so I see strong interest from more or less traditional investors, from family offices, multifamily offices. The funny thing is that being a space VC, you live in a kind of a two bubbles, you know. So in one bubble, you talk with founders, you talk with government related persons, and you feel like you're a little bit outdated, right? Because they're like on the edge of technology. But on the other hand, you're talking with traditional investment firms who is saying like, what, like space tech? You know, let's talk about it like in 2 years and 3 years, so whatever. So you name the number. So and I think our purpose as space VCs is to match these two bubbles and like make the magic happen. So the funds will flow in the industry, and all these dreams about like colonizing Mars, making like a permanent presence on Moon will come true. So yeah,
Got it.
that's our kind of a mission, So
I agree. I mean, also the interesting thing will be how are you looking at the big companies like Rocket Lab, Firefly, you mentioned, SpaceX, with this new approach from, NASA and the government overall? Do you think they will grow as fast as they did before, or you think we'll see a lot of new entrants and new players? What's your perspective?
I think new approach will definitely help them. Uh, I don't think that um, they will face more competition. I mean, like, of course they will, but it will be, like a natural thing. So, I mean, like, if there will be somebody who is making the same stuff like that, like they doing, it's like mm, in let's say in a new manner, with with less costs, more effective, and at least same level of safety. Uh, yeah, there could be some competition, but in general, I think it should be beneficial for them because having this amount of expertise, this amount of existing contracts and cash flow, if we're talking about Rocket Lab in particular, uh, it's much more easier for them to compete for certain set of grants, contracts with government contractors. So yeah, I think in general it will be beneficial for them as well
Got
as
it.
for any other relatively mature company
Got it.
in space tech.
And of course, one of our pillars is space debris management. And
Oh, yeah.
previously, the state tracked debris for free. Now, after changes in SPD 3 with new Trump administration, debris tracking is becoming as a paid service in the future. So, does it turn out we're building toll roads in orbit? Do we expect insurance companies to make debris removal mandatory? And what do you expect from this market in general?
Um, that's a must-have market. I mean, like you cannot avoid it. You don't have any, so it's evolving naturally. The only question I have is that how fast it will evolve. Uh, you can replace this saying with how bad it will get. So, I mean, so in terms of debris management, I think it's like pretty fair replacement. Um, I would say that in terms of tracking, uh, tracking relatively big parts of space debris and in general space domain awareness, uh, we are progressing pretty good. So we have such companies like Leo Labs, like Kaihan Space, like Leaf Space. So you name it, there are a lot of them. But I probably named main players. Um, Still, there is a problem with tracking small parts. There is some approaches, and we're looking at several companies who is doing this kind of stuff. I mean, in terms of how money will be made there, I would say that yes, we will try to clean up most crowded areas in space on low Earth orbits, on MEO, on well, at some point in time, even at GEO. Um, and I foresee that somewhere maybe like in 5 years, 10 years, it would be much easier for satellite operators to pay for, like one particular space debris removal mission together than to, for example, like several space operators paying this. It's like cumulative sum to contractor. Instead of making, like hundreds of maneuvers trying to avoid collision with this particular part of debris. So, of course, there is a problem with satellites which are already dead, but I mean, like at the end of the day, it's still like trying to remove a relatively big part of debris. It's like make it burn in the atmosphere or put it on, like let's say graveyard. So yeah, I mean,
Got
like
it.
super important thing, and yeah, maybe now it's not so mature as a market, but I think things will evolve pretty quickly in the coming 2, 3 years.
I agree with that. So by 2030, Athena project from Jared Isaacman requires plans a nuclear reactor on the lunar surface. So what's your perspective on nuclear energy and why we need it in space and how we can make money from that?
So there is a fusion, there is a fission. So fusion is like relatively far away. Um, I mean, like it doesn't mean you cannot make money on this. I mean, as some progress in development, this technology will be made. So you still can, Uh, but if we're talking about something which can be truly used, so that's only fission, which is in upcoming 5 years, maybe like even 10 years, will be mostly used um, for fueling the whole energy infrastructure on the moon and on the orbit, um, maybe even on Mars. Um, So my perspective is in 5 years, we will see first prototype on the moon of fusion reactor. So we're gonna need uh, kind of a way to transmit this energy from this prototype and hopefully from several of them in maybe upcoming 5 to 10 years. Um, how it will be transmitted? Apparently, it won't be cables like it's made on Earth. Uh, Maybe it will be uh, optical transmission, um, cable-less transmission. Yeah, let's put it this way.
Okay.
Um, yes, and also for uh, relatively uh, difficult missions and um, missions on the other part of moon on dark side of moon. Uh, I think we're gonna use like kind of a batteries, which companies like Zeno Power making. So
Hmm.
it's also fusion based, but I mean, like it's not like a reactor, but works on pretty much same principles. So yeah, that's my view. Um, and we're also looking for companies who is doing substantial progress in these fields. There are several of them, either in transmission or in reactor building. So yeah, we'll keep you posted.
We're having a call with the company today that is doing vision. So yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to the manufacturing. So the Varda Space Industries case shows that microgravity allows creating products with purity premium. So what goods are we talking about? Pharmaceuticals, fiber optics, and do you see any prospects in this area? Any potential growth, or it's more of a dream today?
Uh, I would say lab capsules like Barda Space have two main, uh, two main problems. The biggest problem they are facing is that so we see that private space stations are coming in maybe like 3, 4, 5 years, and they going to be a place where all these experiments and kind of mm, space manufacturing in terms of biotech so will happen. So on these space stations. Once design is verified, so it's easy to replicate it, like once the Starship is operational, so it's much easier to put like um, 8, 10, 15 stationary labs on low Earth orbit and make all these experiments there. What's the point to send each time, like small labs and trying to get the results immediately back to Earth, like in I
In a
don't know,
capsule.
several days. Yes, in a capsule. So each time you need to put this uh, mm, all these materials, like for radiation protection, like heat protection, all the stuff. So get put it back to low Earth orbit, um, renew it, and I mean, I don't see much sense in this. So it's better to wait like for another 5 years until commercial space stations will take their place. And that's where all this space manufacturing will start happening. That's my view. Uh, we're investors in Axiom Space and Voyager Technologies also. We decided to keep Varda, so but I mean, like we have our own reasons for this. But in general, yeah. So I think that's all going to take place on space stations. And in terms of whether or not you have this benefits from producing in microgravity, of course, yes. So from organ printing, so to superconducting materials, so it's all verified. It's only a question when economies of scale will be possible on the orbit, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Got it. And you know, we're gonna be on the Mars, but when? That is the question. And how fast do you think we are moving? And when we are going to start sending trucks with equipment there? And when the Mars economy will appear? That's the question.
Um, I think initially, uh, so we'll see a lot of humanoid robots on Mars. So before we will see, like a full scale, uh, let's say biological inhabitants, uh, biological ready inhabitants. So I think it's gonna start happening 2035 plus, uh,
Hmm.
not earlier than this. So I mean, there could be a very dramatic mission when people go in there and facing all
And
these problems.
yeah,
Yes,
living in dungeons and hiding from radiation
yeah, fighting for their lives. So
with
that's a
aliens.
great, yeah. That's a truly great scenario for any movie. And we saw one.
Yeah.
It's even called the same, Martian. Uh, but in terms of practical application, for sure, humanoid robots is a more beneficial way to start colonizing celestial bodies like Mars, maybe at some point in future Titan, Europe. Um, the next phase, I suppose, is going to be like improving ourselves from gene editing perspective, making our bodies uh, more reluctant to, like all the effects of microgravity, um, and radiation, whatever. Maybe we will, maybe at some point in time, maybe in 20 years, we will be able to, like survive without breathing for like a half an hour or something like this. But yeah, I mean, like, so that's all like science fiction. But yeah, my vision on this is that by 2035, we will have enough, kilos of useful payloads on Mars. So before this time, we're going to see like first visitors from Earth there, and hopefully by 2030, we're going to see their humanoid robots. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Got it. So I have my last question. So it is regarding finance and it's regarding the cycle. So historically, it was considered that space startups break even in about like 12 years. Uh, do you think this will change? And do you think startups now will have, less time to be at the break even?
Yeah, time to break even will shorten for sure, and the reason for this is that previously companies were growing along with their markets are growing. So, and the more mature markets we will see in space economy, the quicker will be path to break even for companies who's trying or planning to participate in this particular market. So yeah, it's evolving naturally, and the more mature this industry will get, the less years will get for will take it for companies to get to break even. So that's it.
Got it.
This is it.
Okay, thank you for an interview. Do you have any last words to our subscribers?
Nothing's bigger than space. Yeah. So see you on the orbit.
See you guys. Bye.